Hello and welcome back to the show wearefree.tv, the channel of the people, by the people, for the people, where we interview different people from around the world, especially lately practitioners, different kind of practitioners, alternative practitioners, body-mind, healers of various sorts, the kind of information that is not that supported on mainstream media. This is where people come to educate themselves about all these alternative modalities and healing methods and systems that so many people around the world today have developed themselves and offer as a service to so many people who need it after years of taking all the drugs from the big pharmaceutical companies that just want to pump pharmaceuticals into us and to keep us chronically ill for as long as they possibly can, so that we become better customers for their awful chemical induced drugs. But we are more clever than that, and we know how to heal ourselves naturally, and this is the place to come and talk about it. So I'd like to thank all the people who have donated, and if you wish to donate, then all the information is up here. Thank you very much. Also, please join our Telegram group, which is No Censorship TV, one word, in Telegram, and then you will get a link to every new interview as and when it comes out. And if you don't have Telegram, you could just go to our website, wearefree.tv, and then click on Join Us, give us your mail and your name, and we shall send you an email with every new interview. And as for this interview, please feel free to share it wherever you possibly can, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, send it by email to your friends. You can share it on your TikTok, on your LinkedIn, and Twitter if you have. Thank you very much for that. And today we have a very interesting interview indeed. My guest is Johanna Straub. She is an intuitive healer and nutritionist specialized in raw vital foods. The name of our interview is Spiritual Healing and Nutritional Guidance. Times of Change, benevolent reflection, excessive thinking, nutrition, and intuition. These are the subjects that we're going to be covering today and more. So, hello there, Johanna. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. I'm very good. I mean, I love this subject. I mean, it's so much up my street. I can't tell you. So perhaps before we start, you could just give us a quick summary of who you are and where you are and why you are and where you're from and where you're going and what's your life purpose, all in a short sentence or more than one short sentence.
In a short sentence, I'm a German in Israel, and I've always loved to help people, and I love it, especially here.
Okay, why especially here?
Because the people in Israel are very much themselves, more than any other people I've met so far.
I see. And where are you originally from? France?
I'm from Germany. From Germany.
Ah, well, there's plenty of sense of humor in Germany compared to Israel.
You think so?
No, I'm joking. The Germans are known to not have a sense of humor.
You see, you're right.
Yeah.
I take it seriously when you say that.
Do you speak? Do you speak Hebrew?
I'm learning. It takes time. I'm learning.
So you talk English.
It's a language that really I talk English and German. Yes.
To your patients.
Hebrew is yes.
And have you ever?
I'm working on my Hebrew. I'm working on it, but
yes.
It's really like it's twisting the mind to the other side. You know, you have to think everything backwards, from right to left.
I can imagine. It must be difficult. So basically, I understand that you accompany people in times of change. Can you perhaps explain what do you mean by that?
Well, I'm referring to two different kinds of change. First of all, we are in a time where things change more than they used to. I mean, things are not like they were 2 years ago, and in 2 years' time, hopefully things will not be like they are now. This is something, it's like speeding up exponentially. And many people are confused and lost, and especially in this time because of these rapid changes. And I'm also referring to personal changes, like if somebody wants to change anything in their life, like they feel that they are not living what they really want to live. They're looking for purpose, or they want to change maybe their partner, or, you know, when you come in a point in your life, to a point in your life when you face an obstacle and you feel you need to change something to be able to walk on.
Do you have examples?
What's happening?
Like, can you say, for example, 3 months ago, a guy came, he was about 45 years, and he had this problem, and I sat down with him, and I did this to him and that to him, and 2 years later, he's up and running? I don't know. Any example?
An example would be, for example, well, someone came in a phase of physical weakness. Someone who was not used to it at all and had to face a new phase in her life, where she was not as strong as she wanted to be. And I've seen her growing back into, first of all, into acceptance of this, and back into her old shape. Or someone came to me with before a job interview, was really nervous. For example, someone came to me and wanted to know if it was a good relationship or not. You know, these kinds of
What
things.
about illnesses? People come with cancer or with high blood pressure or diabetes or anything like that?
They do. It's always related. So it's always related. I'm not a doctor, so I cannot treat people as a doctor. But when you go through an illness, it's always good to work on it holistically. Yeah. So if you go to a doctor, you also can go to someone who supports you in this process.
Okay. So you say that you, let's talk about the methods that you use with your clients. Like, one of them is called benevolent reflection. What exactly is that?
That was my expression of describing my role in the conversations we have. So I am like a mirror. I mirror my partner, but in a very well-wishing, benevolent way. Because when you want to heal, first of all, it's a collaboration. I cannot heal someone, but I can only support people who are ready and willing to heal themselves. Mm-hmm. And if I tell somebody to do a certain thing, it won't really change anything. The only way to change your patterns is by understanding it yourself. So if you have somebody to talk to who mirrors you back your own behavior or your own situation or your blockage, and you're able to see it, then you're able to change it.
Okay. And what about movement? I understand you use movement as well.
Yes, some people like to talk and do nothing else, but for some people it's very helpful to do it in a different way. For example, if somebody says to me, I would like to talk, but I cannot sit. I can focus better. You know, when I move, when I say, okay, let's do a long beach walk and do the session while we talk. It's a different something else opens up. Mm-hmm. And some people just they need more oxygen. They need to breathe. They need to relax. So sometimes I just throw in some exercises.
So you mainly talk while you treat people, but sometimes you do it sitting down, and sometimes you do it walking around or jumping around, because that's what they like. But you're always talking. You're always talking, though.
I also work with silence. I found that especially in Israel, people are lacking a bit of that.
Silence?
Silence, yes. Silence.
Okay. So if I was to come to you, you could treat me in complete silence? Like I just sit in front of you for an hour, I won't say a word, and you won't say a word, and that will heal me? in itself?
I have never done that for 1 hour, but it's an interesting experiment.
Okay, so how long?
No, it's you cannot say how long. It's just that sometimes when you talk about something and you have this moment of understanding, you need a moment to take it in. So I will not continue talking, but I will just do it slow and more silent.
Well, being an Israeli, yes. No.
I also do with my partner, Ronnie, who's also a healer. We have a special workshop for Israelis. It's called co-creation in silence, where we gather 5 people around a canvas, and they paint together in silence. These 5 people, and what happens when you cannot talk and you have nothing to listen to? First of all, you express yourself in a different way. And secondly, you start to listen to your intuition, and your inner voice comes out. And for example, you feel if you like somebody or not by what he says, but these things are way more subtle. And usually we don't hear it because we talk all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fair enough. And what about essential oils?
Essential oils I use to help people to calm down or to open up, to relax.
And how do you apply the oil? They drink it, or you rub it on their noses?
There's a thing called a diffuser. It's a little machine that distributes the oil in the air, and it's a very subtle smell. You notice it, but it's not really. It's like this slight scent in the air.
Okay, but
and you get it like that. Sometimes I also apply it on the hands. I rub the hands and let them smell, or let them smell on the bottle.
But it's not a massage or like shiatsu.
It's not a massage. No.
I see.
No.
Okay, and how about writing? I understand you also use writing in your work, or?
Yes, I do. I'm a novelist as well, so this is where I come from, and I know about the healing powers that writing has, because it's also a way to connect with your intuition, and you write something without, when it goes smoothly, you don't think you're right. Mm-hmm. It happens to you, and it's a way to open up. It's a way to open up. It's also a way to focus. For example, when you write about, you write about what you are grateful for. You do that for 10 minutes, then you cannot be other than grateful.
Okay.
For example, when you write about what you loved to do when you were a little boy, you kind of become that little boy. You find the joy again. So writing is like a shortcut to happy places.
I see. And I'm looking at your title as an intuitive healer. So first of all, where did the healer come from? When did you realize that you were a healer, or did you learn healing of some sort anywhere?
I did. I had several teachers. I think the healer has always been there. It's either you enjoy helping people and understanding them, or you don't. And it has always been there. Also, the search has always been there. The questions of how should we live? Why are we so unhappy? What is going wrong? All this belongs together. Mm-hmm. So it has always been there. And my novels have been a kind of healing, in a certain way. It has always been there, but now is the time to actually do. Not nothing else, but do this more than other things.
I see, but
the time and the place too.
So intuitive, how does an intuitive healer differ from a non-intuitive healer?
Maybe there are non-intuitive healers. It's just a way of highlighting it that my method is to combine methods. My method is to react to who's there and play with what is needed. I don't have a strict pattern which I run every time, but I see what is necessary now. So I'm open to. I don't want to say play with it. It sounds so. Well, yes, it's fun. It's fun too. But it's the playfulness, and it's the reaction to the specific person in front of me.
Yeah.
And I get that from inside and from the other one. It's like a mixture. It's not like that I do a massage every time, no matter who's there, or I do a talk every time, no matter who's there.
I see. Okay. And the nutritionist, what's that got to do with it?
The nutritionist has got a lot to do with it. It's the same thing coming from another side, in a way. Because, I have experienced it myself that if you change your diet, you change your life automatically. Because you create new patterns, new habits, you attract new people to your life, you meet different people, you start experimenting, you start to discover new things, and you also learn to say no. Suddenly you don't want this anymore, and you have to really protect your boundaries, because everyone else in your your circle of friends and family, they want you to be the old one. But if you want to change, if you put it on the food, it can help you.
So what kind of food do you eat?
Apart from that, and it's also beneficial for your health, of course, if you cut out certain things.
So what do you eat? What's your diet? What is it made of?
I eat plants which are neither cooked nor baked nor fried, nor I eat raw plants, which doesn't mean that everybody I help has to do the same. I help anyone, no matter where they come from and where they want to go, as long as it's in the direction towards more healthy and not towards more unhealthy.
Yeah, but I mean, your personal story, I'm interested. How did you get to eating raw food? I mean, did you have a personal illness, God forbid, and you kind of cured yourself from it, or what? Or you just decided for no reason one day?
I have been vegetarian since I was 20, vegan since I was 40, but the raw vegan it was connected to my brother. He did have an illness, and he died from it. He tried the raw vegan as a cure, and he didn't. he did it. Of course, it was not connected to that. He didn't die of that, but he died. He died, and I started with my first raw phase to connect to him, and I saw the changes in my life. What a vehicle it was. It was like it helped me through that phase. And after I switched back to normal, but it kept coming when I had periods where I wanted to clean myself, like from the inside. And it's a bit like a fast, but with eating.
Okay.
And then later it became now since I studied it, I learned it. I medically approved nutritionist specialized in raw vital foods. Now I learned so much about it that I don't see any reason to. I'm not 100%, but I don't see any reason to go back, especially because it's like it's really tasty. I mean, a lot of discoveries.
Back to what?
Back to cooked. Back to mainly cooked.
Junk food?
Well, there is something like raw vegan junk food. You can make all kinds of cakes with a lot of nuts and chocolate and fruit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not junk.
No, but would you go back to eating junk food? That's what I meant.
Well, when I tried the last time, I didn't like the taste anymore.
So it's very unclear why you are a nutritionist or a raw vital foods practitioner.
It's unclear?
I'm not totally sure. You said it was your brother died, made you go vegan, I think, but then you kind of decided to continue. But I didn't hear any benefits other than that you don't like the other kind of food, the cooked food. So I was expecting to hear a whole list of benefits of why it's better in terms of the vitamins that you get, and you don't kill nothing, not a word. So I'm just, maybe it's a secret. Maybe you don't want to talk about it. Sorry?
Well, no, it tastes better. Plus, I don't go to doctors anymore. I don't need to. I'm healthy. Uh-huh. No, it's very good for the body. The body is it's designed for raw foods.
Yes.
The enzymes, they are designed for raw foods, and you will when you don't have to become a 100% raw vegan, but when you introduce more raw foods into your diet, your body will thank you for that, because it's what it's made for, and you will feel the benefits. You will feel that it's giving you energy and giving you your health back.
So do people come to you as a nutritionist and say, look, I have a problem, and you say, okay, let's look at your diet and let's see, why do you eat this, and why are you eating that, and let's remove this and that?
Yes, and I asked them, what would you like? What's your goal? Like, I'm not converting anyone into raw vegan who wants to be a meat eater. That's fine too. I also believe that everyone should have their own diet, and it's the important thing about a diet is that you choose yourself, and that you not just take what's in the canteen, the number 2, but you really make a choice. This is good for me. This is what I want. That it's a conscious choice.
I see. Okay, so let's go back to the mind. Let's leave the body for a moment and go back to the mind, spirit. How can I stop thinking so much, and how would I benefit from thinking less?
Well, first of all, I think thinking is not a bad thing. It's a very, very good tool. It's a very good and handy tool. The only thing about it is that we should be aware that we think, and that the thinking is not running us. That we have it in our hands, and it's a decision.
Mm-hmm. So how can I stop thinking so much? In my case, I'm serious. I think all the time. I live in my head. I'm constantly repeating stuff to myself. I'm imagining me talking in the future to my friend or whoever, and then I think about things that happened in the past. But I'm never, ever not thinking. Only if I take a very strong psychedelic substance, and then I don't think. But other than that, I'm constantly thinking.
Well, for me, the best way to stop thinking is to get into the flow, to do what I love. Because when you do what you love, you'll become one with what you do, and you don't notice the thinking anymore. You don't have this discrepancy. Is that an English word? Discrepancy?
Yeah. Discrepancy.
In between what you do and what you would like to do. Mm-hmm. Meditation is a way to stop thinking, but it's hard for most people in our culture, in our society, in our surroundings. But that's a way to stop thinking too.
Okay. What else?
Movement is a way to stop thinking.
Sorry?
Sports, movement, sports, running, hiking. Hiking is a beautiful way to stop thinking. Making love is a way to stop thinking. Movements, meditation. And listening to other people. It's also a good way to stop thinking.
That's a good one. I should practice that more. Listening to other people. Although I do it during the shows, but in real life, I talk over people, and often I don't really listen to them. I just think about me getting a chance to say what I want to say, and I'm losing everything the other person is saying, if you see what I mean.
You're aware of it. Yeah. This is you think about your thinking, You're not just thinking, you think about your thinking. So you're already detached from it.
So what are the benefits of not thinking?
Well, the benefits of not thinking are feeling and hearing the inner voice, which comes before the thinking. Usually you have like something like speaks to you, and then the thinking starts like a program from outside, because our thoughts come from there. There's a lot of repetition in our thoughts, and they come from how can I say that? Many thoughts have been put into us. So do you know do you also have that sometimes that you think something and you're surprised that you were thinking that? It feels like a repetition of someone you know, like parents or school,
definitely.
So it's not really a thought as we understand it. It's something else. It's like a program.
So why is that bad?
Or like an unwanted mantra. It's bad because we are not ourselves anymore. It takes us away from who we originally are, because we're repeating. We are becoming a society of, or more than one society, I get like mankind of followers. Because following is a big thing these days, and everyone's following. I don't know how many others, but it also distracts us from ourselves, and it's dangerous because we run the risk of being hijacked into some direction where we don't want to go. So when we don't think, but we follow our own heart, or guts, or everything in between, then we are on a better way, I think.
We're free.
I think.
It's very relevant to these days, what you just said. It's just so relevant with the craziness about this ridiculous disease that's allegedly a pandemic, and just people forgot how to think. Well, they never really were thinking, but now it's an extreme situation where it's killing them, the fact that they're not thinking for themselves and letting, the powers that be tell them what to do once again, and now it might cost them their lives. Anyway, we wish everyone long, healthy life. But maybe it's the universe waking us up. Start thinking for yourself. Develop your inner intuition. Follow your heart, like you say, or die.
I think it's also about trust. That people don't. It's not just that they trust authorities or institutions or whoever, the media, more than themselves. They don't even compare. They don't even ask themselves for something they could trust on. This is something we need to find again.
Okay. And we do that through silence, movement, no thinking?
Yes.
Okay.
And expressing ourselves naturally. Real conversations.
Okay. Do you work with couples?
Yes.
Like the usual stuff, I can't stand my partner, my woman, she's driving me mad. And my woman says, well, he's no good. You're not buying me enough presents. You don't love me anymore. You don't give me enough attention. What man behaves like you?
Why not?
What do you tell them, these couples?
Well, it depends, of course, but it can be something like a translator. Because very often there's the layer of what we say, and then it's the layer underneath of what we want to express. And the language, it can be a bridge, but it can also be a broken bridge. And then it's in the way, because when you are in a fight or when something triggers you hear you get stuck to one word, and then you don't hear anything else, and you cannot connect to the intention behind it. And I can help to translate and talk about intentions.
Okay. Like, for example, maybe give a real life example. Say they came to me and they said this, and I realized when the husband is saying this, he doesn't really mean that, because there's something underneath that, which is a feeling, which is an unexpressed feeling of lack of confidence, and the wife's not aware of it. So I acted as a bridge, and I told them blah, blah, blah.
This is a good example you gave.
Yeah?
Cannot tell too many details.
I see. So why is the goal to connect to the intuition and to the inner self? Modern times made us give it up. Why is it so dangerous, losing the connection to the intuition and to the inner self?
Yes, I like what I said. We are following others who are not always wishing us well. They can manipulate us, and they can make us things that we don't we don't want. We don't know that we don't want them. We don't know it yet, and we will find out, and then we will one day wake up and see who I was following all my life. Why was I not following myself?
How can I connect?
No,
tell me.
Yeah, we don't even know it. We don't even look for it because we are not aware that we have lost it.
Okay.
Or that we're losing it. I think that's puberty. Puberty is when you realize the world is a strange place and you rebel against it, and then you are, trimmed to fit in.
So
this is what happens.
So how can we recognize intuition, and how can we cultivate this intuition which we don't have? I mean, we're unaware that we lost it. So how can I know that I got it back? And how can I know that I need to get it back even?
Well, you feel there's this sense of feeling alienated. You feel something is wrong. You're not doing what you want to do. You're not really yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You're not really in the right position, with the right surroundings, the wrong friends, the wrong job, the wrong love, the wrong everything. Then you're not yourself, and you need to change something.
Okay.
And when you feel great about everything you do and everything you have and everything, then you're probably where you want to be, and then it's probably good. So your happiness is like a good measurement of finding out if you're on track or not.
Yeah. I guess if I'm connected to myself and I'm doing things that make me feel fulfilled, then I feel complete and happy and satisfied, and my frequency rises, and I am laughing and smiling, and that means I'm connected to my intuition. I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. My
and
destiny.
It also comes back to you. You get these signs, like things happen, synchronicities. The right people come to you. The people where you don't need to explain much. They understand you. You laugh about the same things.
Yeah.
I don't know, these things. It's just going up. It's like an upward spiral.
Wonderful. Yeah. Okay. I understand you do workshops. Can you tell us about your workshops?
Yes. Well, I do, as I said, with my partner Ronnie, we do these silence workshops. And we also take people to nature when it's a bit easier to gather and do things. And I myself, as a nutritionist, I do uncooking and unbaking workshops. So I teach people how to do pizza, bread, cheese, pad thai, and obviously salads, cakes, raw food workshops. And I do them in private, like one-on-one, and also in bigger groups.
And where is it? Is it somewhere central?
It's in Jaffa.
In Jaffa?
In Jaffa, yeah.
Nice.
A lot of parking space.
No parking space?
And, a lot of parking space.
Okay. That's brilliant.
View to the sea, and it's a lot of space here, and it's a very nice place.
So you have a nice place, I understand, which has a view to the sea in Jaffa, plenty of parking, and you hold those workshops there with groups or just one-on-ones? With the cooking, raw food, and that's mainly the workshop, or what else do you do in the workshops?
That's mainly the workshops.
And Ronnie, what does Ronnie do in a nutshell?
In a nutshell, she's working with her hands, without touching mostly. She has very powerful hands, and she can make blockages in the body. Get it into flowing again. She sees where it needs some unblocking.
Interesting. So did you say you work together? You sometimes do things together?
We do workshops together, and sometimes we have clients who go to both of us. Mm-hmm. And sometimes we have very complementary temperament. She's from Israel and she's very fiery, and I'm more like airy German thinker, and she's more the feeler. So sometimes it's good to have both of us.
I see.
Like a package.
So if I was to come to both of you, then I'll have a nice, long, serious chat with you. And then I could, then she could come and put her hands on me and make me feel all relaxed and happy and connected.
Exactly. And you will have a chat with her too. A very different one than mine, but yes, she does that also.
I see. Amazing. Okay, so these are the workshops. And what about your work as a nutritionist? We spoke. And what are the benefits of a healthy diet, changing habits? I believe we spoke about that. Maybe I could try and get you to talk about it a bit more. I mean, I could tell you about me. I went to the doctor a few years ago and he said, according to your blood test, you have sugar, a tendency for sugar. And I'm very worried, he said, that you're going to develop diabetes. So I want to give you these pills and you need to take these pills forever. And I was like, no, I'm not going to take pills at the age of 45. So I went online and I searched and I found this whole thing called insulin resistance. And it was explained very clearly that I just need to reduce my intake of carbohydrates and, of course, do a bit of sports and reduce my stress. And that's what I did. And lo and behold, I have no sugar at all. I mean, no sugar issues. Everything's back to normal. And I went back to my doctor. He was amazed a few months later. And, that's why I believe in nutrition. And I eat only not raw, but mainly raw food. I eat fruit, vegetables, legumes, like pulses and nuts. That's all I eat.
Great. That's great. That's great.
And no junk food. So I haven't been ill for God knows how many years since I've started this. I feel great. I sleep good. And it's just, I can't imagine why would anyone want to put all this shit into their body that so many people are doing, on a regular basis. It's like smoking, or worse.
Because it's in the supermarkets and we trust that it's good for us. But the body has a natural healing abilities, and we can, whatever we do to it, either we support it or we disturb it. That's a choice. There's no thing is neutral. Either we help it or we are in the way. But if we help it, it will do everything, the mind too, the body and the mind will do everything to heal itself.
And I believe I just eat anything, which if I go back 20,000 years, I'll say to myself, I'll eat today what was available 20,000 years ago. All the fruit, all the vegetables, everything that grows. That's it. But there was no croissants and bread and bagels and pizzas and pasta. All that didn't exist back then. So I don't eat it today because of that.
That's great. That's great.
And sweets and ice lollies.
A disease or a diagnosis is like a warning, and many people just don't take it. But you took it, and it's awesome. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, and it's even better when people they do it before this warning comes, and they understand that we are actually made of what we eat. It shapes us. It makes us.
Yeah.
So who wants to be a chicken McNugget? It's like I don't understand why.
Yeah. Okay, now I'd like to talk about something completely different. I understand that you spent many years living, or not about years, but you've spent a long time living in a tent.
I did.
Tell us about it, please. At
length.
Yes,
I like hiking. I hiked the length of New Zealand, which is like my second, or now I should say my third home. I spent a lot of time there when I was 16 as an exchange student, and I went back to hike the length of it. It's 3,000 kilometers, and it takes roughly half a year, a bit less. So, but this is all what you do when you're on a trail like that. You walk, and you eat, obviously, and you sleep in the tent, and you spend time in nature, and you become just a hiker. And it's a bit like going to a monastery, because you don't take decisions. You do every day the same. You have this routine. And it's wonderful what happens, because it's like a reconnecting with nature, because you understand that it's we are nature. No, we're not in nature, but we are in nature, and we are nature. We belong there, and it's our friend. It supports us. It's wonderful because I learned a lot of trust in myself, obviously, trust in other people who love to support because they love what you do, and trust in nature and independence. That's what you learn too.
And did you walk alone?
Yeah, I walked alone most of the time.
Wow.
There's a part where you pedal the Wanganui River, and you are not allowed to pedal alone. So I had to wait for some people, and then we were this loose group. So we were kind of hiking together, but not. But then in the end, I walked alone again.
And what about the hardships? You know, rain, and you got soaked, and the tent broke, and the wind blew.
That's part of it. That's part of it. But you deal with everything. Rain. You know how to get yourself dry, and then you know that a piece of chocolate, good chocolate, will make you happy again. And I had a situation. I was hiking with a friend at that time. She came and we hiked together, and she was new. She was new to it, and I was kind of responsible for her for this stretch that we hiked together. And I had underestimated the length of that stretch of the day, or I had overestimated her abilities. So we got stuck. We got stuck it was like a downhill part close to the hut, only 1 kilometer, but it was getting dark, and I could not see the trail marks anymore, and there were just these pricky bushes, pricky, horrible, nasty wild Spaniards, they're called. Like, I was afraid of the tent and of the mats, and there wasn't even a flat space, and it was getting dark, and I didn't see the marks anymore. I said, okay, that's it, Now I don't know what to do. I really don't know what to do. And I was completely calm, and I turned around, and then there was this spot in the size of the tent that was flat and without any shrubs and anything. So it was there. And I hadn't seen it before, and all day there had been no camp spot like that. So just because I did not panic, and I did not, I did not panic, and I did not thought, oh my God, this is the end. It's always, it always goes on, and something shows up, and you always, you find your way.
Keep the faith.
But it's easier. Yeah, it's easier alone, when you know what you do, and you know how fast you are, and you know how long a kilometer is, and it's easier alone.
I see. And what else did you learn, living in the tent for so long, in terms of, I don't know, minimalistic lifestyle, and how you don't need much in life to feel good and free?
I was wearing the same pair of pants for half a year every day, and it's a really nice experience. After it took me a while to get used to normal clothes, and choices and all that, because it's really nice when you don't look into a mirror for I don't know how long, and then you see yourself and you're like, oh, okay, that's me, interesting. It's really good for the soul, this cutting back. And you don't have, for half a year, no vacuum cleaners and not so much also, but no traffic jams and no noises like that. And you're mostly in nature. It's like, a lot of disturbing things fall away, and you realize it's nice just to have one pot and one spoon and having to wash that, and nothing else. And all these because things, they take us into responsibility. We think we own them, but they own us. We have to, make sure they have their, a thing needs to have some other thing to put it inside, and then you need a shelf to put that thing, and then you need a room for that shelf, and it gets bigger and bigger. And in a tent, you just have, I don't know, I had maybe 6.5, 7 kilos plus food. So one each, except for underwear and socks, one each, and that was it. And it's good, it's very liberating.
What about food? Where did you get food?
Well, supermarkets. I must say supermarkets.
And money? How much did this cost?
About 800 euros a month, and I was spending sometimes a night in a hotel. plus all the ferries, all the extra shoes, everything is in there. So I spent a lot less money than I spent in Berlin, where I used to live, in a month.
So it's like 4,000 euros, the whole thing, 5,000 euros top.
No, 8. Yeah.
The 6 months.
Exactly. And I had to sublet my apartment. It was already covering it, you know.
Oh, so you rented your apartment in Berlin and just went hiking. Lucky you. Yeah. I mean, having property in Berlin is a good thing. It's a trendy place.
I was renting it. I had a bit saved up. I was renting. It was a rented apartment.
Ah, so you sublet it?
I didn't have much costs. I just cut on all my costs, my expenses in Berlin.
I see.
Yes, 800 a month. Yes.
Don't you miss Berlin? Good old Berlin.
Well, I don't really know. I think it has changed a lot in the last months.
Kreuzberg? You know Kreuzberg?
I do.
I spent some time in the park there. I'm sure you know why.
In which one? Görlitzer Park?
I went to the park with the black guy at the top of the hill.
That park. Okay.
It's true. Yeah. It's amazing.
Yeah.
I was in the center of Berlin and I said, where can I buy some marijuana? I said, oh no, go to Kreuzberg, there's a park, walk into the park and you'll see the black guy and he'll come to you. And I'm like, okay. And when I was desperate to smoke weed at the time. So I went to Kreuzberg, I entered the park, I walked up the hill, and what do you know? There was a black guy waiting for me at the top of the hill. So I was like,
it just one? Was it just one?
There's loads of them, I guess. You know, it's like they say, you know, that Israeli guy who left Israel and went abroad and opened not a hummus, what a falafel stand. You know him? Yes. And he became rich. Well, there's loads of them. That Israeli guy that goes abroad and opens a falafel stand and makes loads of money. So just like the black guy in Kreuzberg Park. And then I saw him and I was like, mate, you know, and he's like, yeah, let's go into the bushes. And he sold me a lovely big 50 grams of beautiful, amazing marijuana for like 50 euros. Top quality, unbelievable. God bless Berlin.
You can be lucky, but you can also be unlucky.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
The police sometimes chase them. It's not all this paradise, happy, peaceful place. But yeah,
and it's cheap. Berlin is cheap.
This good experience. It's very cheap, especially when you compare it to Israel.
Yeah, Israel is like wildly expensive.
I wonder how people do it here.
Yeah,
and how I'm doing it here. But it's possible too.
Yeah, amazing. Wow. So, Johanna, I mean, we've covered all the subjects, and it's been a pleasure talking to you. And now, perhaps you have a final message to the people of Israel from the bottom of your heart. What would you like to tell them? Go ahead, please.
The people of Israel, especially the people of Israel. I would like to say, be yourselves as you are, stay healthy, and enjoy the silence in between the noise.
Wonderful.
And that I love you. Because I learned in Israel to say I love you. In Germany, you don't really say it.
Ich liebe dich.
Yes, ich liebe euch.
Yes. Wow. Well, we love you too. And thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you, and good luck with everything you're involved in. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thanks. And to you, our lovely viewers, thank you very much for watching. All the details of our lovely guests are going to be below the amazing interview, so you can contact her and get healed. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in the next interview. Thank you very much, and goodbye.